Hello, my name is Renita, and first I would like to give my condolences to the Freddie Gray family and to the entire Baltimore family. I just want to mention in a few moments my theory on what's really happening, not only in Baltimore and New York and North Carolina and Missouri and all over the United States. My theory that of what's going on starts with a man that I want to introduce to some and present to others, and that's Mr. Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch was a British slave owner. He received a letter in 1712 from the Virginia colony regarding their slaves being out of control. Willie Lynch was a master of controlling slaves, and he was known for that. So people would send for him. So Mr. Lynch received the letter, and he made his journey to Virginia. On the way coming to Virginia, he noticed that their problem was not unique. So apparently he had seen the same situation going on, and he was being called. So he was making some money at this, you hear? On his route to Virginia, he said in his letter that to the Virginians that I smell the scent of a dead slave, because what they had been doing, they had been hanging their slaves. They've been murdering their slaves. And, he got on them about that. He said, why are you using trees and a rope? If we kind of compare that to today, we're using not trees and ropes to lynch the slaves. By the way, the word lynch came from Mr. Lynch. The word lynching came from Mr. Lynch's last name. He said, why are you doing that? Today we could say we're using now police brutality. Yeah, we're using police brutality. He said, why are you doing that? He said, because that could be that you're killing your productivity. You're killing your product. He said, no, there's a different way. The different way of controlling your slaves is through their mind. Again, when you hear me say the word slave, I want you to say to yourself the word blacks. This message is to my community. I'm not prejudiced. I have many white friends, worked with white friends throughout my years of teaching. I have friends of all other ethnic groups. So it's not a prejudice message. It's a message to my people because it's a message that they need to hear. If I don't do it, if other people who know the truth don't do it, then who will? So Willie Lynch told him, I have a method. I have a method that he calls his keys of control. He said, don't kill him, don't hang him. He said, because how would you produce? How would you maintain your family if you kill your slaves who are taking care of you? We're talking about you're hanging your product. These are the people that are feeding your family. They're picking the cotton that you have to sell to make money. These are the people that are giving up their breasts to feed your children. These are the people that are taking care of your household. They're feeding you. They're bathing you. They're bringing you, nourishing you back to health when you're sick. He said, why would you kill them? He said, I have a better method for you. He said, in this bag that I carry, I have some things that you need to use, and he called them tools. He started off with the age. He said he only put that on the top of the list because it begins with an A. Yeah, right. I see Mr. Willie Lynch had a sense of humor. He put that on the top of the list because he expects for you to train them and put this in their mind, perpetuate his plan from the womb up until the day you bury them. He said the next thing is color and the shades of color. He said then we're going to deal with intelligence. We're going to deal with size and the size of your plantation. We're going to deal with sex. We're going to deal with the status of your plantation. He said we're going to deal with where they live. Are they going to live in the hill or are they going to live in the valley? Or the top of the hill or are they going to live in the valley? Are they going to live on the east side or the west side? Are they going to live on the north side or are they going to live on the south side? Then he said we're going to deal with the attitudes of these owners. the slave owners. How's your attitude? We're going to deal with how they think. We're going to deal with how they think. Willie Lynch was very clever. He was good. He was very good. He said, and if you follow my plan, it'll work. He said it'll work for 300 years or even longer. He said at the end of his letter, he said it could work. It could last for thousands of years. And he said, I want you to implement this plan. I want you to teach your wives. I want you to teach your children. He said, because it's so simple, they can do it. It's working. It's sad to say that his plan is working. And this is what he used. He used three things. He used fear, distrust, and envy. Fear, distrust, and envy. And then he made them note. He said, I want you to note that distrust is stronger than trust. He said, and envy is stronger than adulation, admiration, and respect. Envy is stronger. He said, if you implement these plans of control, he said it will last for 300 years or more. He said you have to make sure that these slaves, the word I gave you, you got to make sure they trust you, but you don't trust them. You don't trust any black, never trust them, but you make them trust you. He told them in this letter, he said, you're going to take your black male, the older black male, and you're going to pitch them against the younger black male. And you're going to take the younger black male and you're going to pitch them against the older black male. He said you're going to take the female and pitch them against the male. And then you're going to take the male and you're going to pitch them against the female. You're going to take some slaves and you're going to put them in your house and you're going to call them house niggas. Now, this is not in the letter, but this is how it went. You're going to put the house, you're going to have your house niggas and you're going to have your field niggas. And you're going to be able to get real close to the house niggas. You're going to allow them to get close to you just enough for them to trust you. You're going to let them trust you, but you're not to ever trust them. You're going to let them have the fried chicken, the greens, the cornbread, the candy yams. You're going to give them the best on the table. The field niggas, you're going to let them eat the slop. They can continue to eat the chitlins with the hot sauce and all that other good stuff. We're going to give them that, but you are going to get the best. And after a while, your slaves are going to be able to say, I love massa. I love my massa. Why? Because if he looks out that window, while he washing those dishes, while she's washing those dishes, and she sees something wrong and them field niggas acting up, they going to tell massa. Anything that goes wrong around there, they going to tell it. I heard so-and-so run away, massa, you better get up. They going to tell it. Now, listen, my white friends, don't get offended because I'm trying to teach my people something. I'm really speaking to the parents, and I'm hoping that the parents will speak to the children. Because what's been happening, no, it's not our fault. No, justice needs to take place. Police brutality is real. If you don't believe it's real, ask the 12-year-old that was killed by police brutality. Mr. Tamar Rice, Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, and Walter Scott, and the name goes on, and names go on. And there were so many names listed and so many incidents that we haven't even heard about on the news. I mean, I'm telling you, start Googling. Come off of Facebook a little bit and Google. Put it out there. So I'm going to go back. He told them, he said, these are the key. This is the kit that I have for you. And he said in his, I'm going to read this word for word. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. For 1 year, they'll remain that way for 300 years or even thousands. Mr. Willie Lynch died at 78 years old. 78 years old, he died. And the method that he's using or has used is still going on. It's still going on. How do you know? Because every time you turn around, one of our people are killing another one of our people over a pair of Jordans, a pair of gym shoes. You know where that come from? Where they got the head of design? Because when they, from the womb, we wanted to buy them a Nike outfit. They had to have the Nikes. They had to have the Gucci's at 2 years old. So you raised them that way. So once they get out there in the streets, they got to have it. And when they realized that they weren't taught education was the best way to learn to become intelligent, and then you can buy the things that you want. No, they were raised from 2 years old. I see kids today, they wearing some designers that I can't afford to buy, and I have an educated. But you got kids that don't even know what education is yet, who have not old enough to step into a classroom yet, but they can be educated. Like this man said, let's change this thing that he using against us. He said, age. Start, instead of using distrust and putting it on and fighting against each other, let's use his top thing on the list, which is age, and start from the womb. Those of you that hear me right now, you are already pregnant. Pick up a book and read. Quit getting on Facebook, degrading your family and your friends because you mad. F this, F that, my family this. Who does that? Who gets on Facebook and talk about their own family? I don't care who you're mad at. How you gonna get on Facebook and call your sister, be your uncle, your mama, your brother, whoever? Who does that? If you got a problem with your family members, black people, not saying the white people don't do it, but I'm talking to my people. If you got a problem with it, get on the messenger. They gave us messenger. Get on the messenger or get on the telephone and settle that problem. And quit. I don't want to hear the fact that your brother ain't shit. I don't want to hear that. That's between you and your brother and your family. Willie Lynch is what? Turn the young against the old. Turn the cousin against the cousin. Turn the sister against the brother. Turn the mother against the father. Turn the baby daddy, the mama daddy against each other. Who wants to hear that the baby mama is a hoe and you done had 10 babies by that? Willie Lynch, you done had 10 babies by this woman and now she a hoe? Then that makes you a hoemonger. You better start thinking, people. This is not going to stop. This have nothing to do with the white man. It has all to do with the way you think. How you going to handle it? Start reading a book. Why do you think that in slavery days, they didn't want you to know how to read? You got punished if you learned how to read. They caught you reading. They killed you. They hung you on a tree if they caught you reading. Why? Because there's power in reading. I'm talking to the parents. That young lady that chastised her son on television the other day, that was the best thing you could have done for our nation. And I know you didn't care if they locked you up or took your child away from you because that's your child. And if you spoil the ride, you spoil the child, you save your son. Your son will never be the same again. That was the best thing you ever done because now he's thinking about it. Oh, I'm going to be a productivity to my community. I'm going to be a product of my community. So we cannot blame this. Yes, we can blame the police for police brutality because it's senseless killing. When you kill a man and you shoot him, how many times was it? 14 times or whatever. And you shoot him and you say you thought it was a stun gun or you shot because of fear because he took your stun gun. And if you thought that a stun gun was going to bring that much damage to give you fear enough to kill someone, then why are you using it on anybody? If it's that powerful to bring fear to you, and this man was how many feet away? Come on, talk to me. We're talking about most of these black men that are being killed unarmed. So that is a problem. But the main problem with what happened in Baltimore with that uprising of tearing down your own community, that is stupid, plain dumb. But if you haven't been taught from age of the womb up to this point, it's going to continue on. Mr. Lynch said, turn the light-skinned Negro against the dark-skinned Negro. And that's going on. I don't want no black man. Ooh, no, give me a light-skinned man. You sound so stupid. You sound dumb. You get on there and you degrade each other. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I had to get this out that we have to change our thinking. Obama called them thugs. Okay, there's a big issue about thugs. Thugs is the same thing. I heard on the news the other week I don't know who it was, so you have to forgive me. You may have to help me out with the comments. Where someone got offended because they were called a thug and said that means nigger. That don't mean that means nigger. It ain't the same. In my opinion, it's not the same as nigger. You look it up in the dictionary. It says thug is a criminal, a violent criminal. So no, that it's not. It's not. You do violent activities. It's not the same as nigger. Nigger is in the dictionary too, and that's a person that's ignorant. Anybody could be an ignorant. You got white. In that case, you got white. You got white niggas. You got black niggas. You got Hispanic niggas. You got Japanese niggas. You got, if you're ignorant, according to the dictionary, you can be called a nigger. But we're not going to go there because we buried the nigger. So since we had a funeral for a nigger, and I'm in this, since we had a funeral for niggers, for the word nigger, why we can't have a Willie Lynch funeral? Why we can't bury Willie Lynch? And it has to start at home, parents. Yeah, all of your parents that were out there and your kids were out there, and you know your kids were out there tearing up the city of Baltimore, you need to turn them in. When I was 15 years old, I was out there. I was with the Earl Flynn's in the city of Detroit. I was out there. I did some of the same things they're doing. I stole cars. I broke into houses. I was out there. And you know what? When my mother found out the truth, you know what she did? She called the DP. She called the Detroit police. They came and picked my butt up. One time she called me with the stolen goods. She called them up, took me to juvenile. My mama did. And to this day, may she rest in peace. To this day, I appreciate what she did for me. Because if my mother would accept, and I stole TVs because we didn't have the TV that I wanted, and the neighbor had a better TV, so I stole it. My mother found that out. She turned my behind in, and it's the best thing that she could have ever done. The best thing. It's called tough love. It's called tough love. Now, if you want this stuff to stop, start training your kids. Get on Google, get on YouTube and look up Willie Lynch. Look up what distrust means and how it is stronger than trust. Look up envy. You young people that may hear this message, quit killing for some material things. Why? Then you want to get to the funeral and say how good this person was and how this and that and how good that, and the person got killed. I'm not talking about the police brutality. I'm going off a little bit. The person that got killed because they got caught stealing someone else's car. They got caught raping somebody else's daughter or raping somebody else's son. Listen, it's time for us to grow up. And if you're a thug, you're a thug. A thug is a hard criminal. And they do thuggish criminal behavior. That's why we keep trying to cover up. Well, they didn't. When the white folk do it, they don't call the white folk thug. Forget what they call the white folk. Let's get our thinking together. We so busy trying to fight what already exists, because racism does exist. It ain't. I've experienced it and still experience. It does exist. Let's quit trying to fight what already exists out there, and let's deal with us. We need to get strong, because if we as a black family get strong and put our arms together, who can break that kind of chain? Who can break? If we start teaching other kids and teaching our neighbors, you remember, you go down the street, you do something wrong, you got your butt whooped there, and then they came home, you got home, and you got a butt whooping again for the same thing. Let's get it together, people. What happened to Baltimore as far as that city being torn down and burned up, that came from our children. Let me tell you this before I close. When you're a child, you act like a child. When you become a man or a woman, you put away childish things. What you did in Baltimore, what you did in Missouri, that was childish. Childish. You're a man now, act like a man. You're a woman now, act like a woman. Look up Willie Lynch. Figure out what you need to do. And let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's bring our family back together. Because it's time out. It's our thinking that has to change. Before we can do anything else, we got to start thinking and stop turning against one another. And parents, it's going to begin with you. It starts with you. Homework, it's your fault if your kids are not doing their homework. Your kids coming in your house at 2 o'clock in the morning. You sitting up in your living room getting high with your kids at 14 and 16 years old. You're letting your sons and daughters sell weed out of your house because they're paying the bills. Are you serious? You crazy. Get it together, people. I love y'all. I'm waiting on the comments. I love you. God bless. God bless America. God bless President Obama. God bless.